Hello there. I'm Scotty. You're not. And we're winding down the Christmas. Merry Christmas Eve, by the way. Uh, yeah, we're winding down these Christmas reviews, and we're talking about While You Were Sleeping, a movie that when the first glimpse at it, you see that and think, it's not a Christmas movie. There's no Christmas anywhere. I had to actually look it up because here's a little backstory for this. I found out about this movie because of Cody Leach. He and his wife, I don't know if they were married at the time, engaged, whatever. They do this podcast called For Better or Cursed. At least they did. I don't know. He gets busy. It's all his prerogative anyway. But and it's where he picks one movie for them to watch, and they talk about it, and then she picks a movie for them to watch and talk about it. So she picked this one. This is a very chick flick centric movie. I myself have always been. I was raised by women. My grandma, my mom, even my sister. My sister's not a movie watcher anyway, it means, but that's why I've been. I kind of go towards rom coms a little bit. There was one time early in the time that my mom was with my stepdad, and they moved in, and it was a few months later, and they're like, watch TV, whatever, I'm gonna take a shower, So I'm going through the cable, and I find Dirty Dancing. And my stepdad walks in and he goes, you're watching Dirty Dancing? I'm like, yeah. I was raised by women, so I go towards like that. I like romantic comedies, not as much as horror, action, sci-fi comedies, but I appreciate a good rom-com every once in a while. This Dirty Dancing, like I said, can't be anything else. Though this is my first time watch of this, so I found this at Walmart for like $7.50 or $5, the $5 bin I think it was. And I bought it, intending to just do a throwaway review at some point. It was in a Pick 1093 at one point that I haven't yet to do. It was going to be part of December because it is a Hollywood Pictures movie, so you could do that. Forgot about that. And then I realized, and I found out it was a Christmas movie. So I'm like, is it? I looked it up. It is a Christmas movie. Christmas is a part of it. Again, though, you can use the die-hard argument. Well, Christmas isn't the central part. No. But there's a lot of Christmas too. Like one of the last scenes of the movie, she's taking down her Christmas tree. It's Christmas and New Year's. It all comes together. The story. So before I get into the story of this movie, if you don't know, if you've never seen it, this is a very absurd movie. It's not realistic in any way, shape, or form because the logical conclusion point of this movie happens with like 40 minutes left of the movie. I'm not kidding you. It feels this movie is what, an hour and a half or so, right? And it feels like 90 minutes in is when the logical conclusion point happens. But we keep going. So the story is that Lucy, I want to call her Annie because of speed, but Lucy, played by Sandra Bullock, she works at this bus station or train station. I think it's a train station, where she's like the toll person that takes the tokens and everything. And every day she sees this guy named Peter, played by Peter Gallagher, and she's fallen. It's one of those things where she says, I've fallen in love with him, but it's really like a crush. When you're a teenager, I'm in love with her, but it's just a crush. You don't know really know what love is at that point. She does, but she has no family. She has some friends, but no family really. Her mom died when she was young, and her dad died about a year earlier before this. So, well, one day he is mugged, I think, and pushed onto the tracks where he hits his head and goes into a coma. She saves him when we get hit by a train, and there's a misunderstanding where it's announced that she is Peter's fiance. So now, and instead of saying anything, she gets wrapped up in the guy's family because she has no one, and she likes the fact that she's accepted by the family and everything, and eventually starts to fall in love with Peter's brother, Jack, played by Bill Pullman. And look, if we weren't already leaning towards that, if you didn't know that that's what the central romance was going to be in this movie, come on, they put it on the box, right? I went in thinking he was the guy in the coma, and they showed the guy. I'm like, that's the dude from the OC. That's not Bill Pullman. And they kept talking about, wait, Jack gets here, wait, Jack gets here, wait, Jack gets here. I'm like, so that's got to be Bill Pullman. There are some recognizable actors in here, besides Bullock, Gallagher, and Pullman. You have the dad, everybody loves Raymond in this. I forget the actor's name. Peter Boyle, I just remembered it. Glynis Johns from Mary Poppins. Popping up in another 90s Christmas movie. I believe she was the mother-in-law or something in The Ref. Gotta rewatch that one this year. And Jack Warden, rest in peace. I know as Big Healy, the dad, the grandfather, bad. What's his name? He's John Ritter's dad in Problem Child 1 and 2. And even he was one of the only cast members that came back for 3, even though no one else did. Him and Gilbert Gottfried. I'm only doing this movie for the paycheck. Yeah. But yeah, yeah. And he plays Saul, who is Peter's godfather, and the next door neighbor and best friends with the dad. So, yeah. So, I had already heard the premise of this movie, and I guess because I listened to that podcast, and I guess I misunderstood what happened. Maybe he just gave the basic plot to it, and I went with it. But to me, it seemed like that she saved him, and when they came in, she told them, I'm his fiance. To kind of, like, she lied to them on purpose because she saw he had a big family, or something like that. Because she was in love with him, or whatever. And it seems that way at first, but it turns out it's not all as devious as I thought it was, because it's all a misunderstanding, because she brings him in there, and they won't let her see him. And thinking, she's going to say I'm a fiance, so she can see him. But no, it's the nurse overhears her talking to herself going, I was going to marry that man. So the nurse assumes she's the fiance. And then the nurse slowly realizes, oh, no, I messed up. No, that's not what's going on. But, again, Lucy can't bring herself to say anything. She kind of goes with it. And it looks like that there's going to be a hang-up when Jack shows up, because immediately he's questioning this woman who's sleeping on his family's couch and claiming to be Peter's fiance. So he's like he's never heard of this woman before, apparently. I don't know. Also, we are made aware that he has a girlfriend named Ashley. My God, this plot point with her, it makes sense until it doesn't. It goes in a drastic... We don't get enough information about this woman to even know what the hell was actually going on. And she's the reporter lady from Universal Soldier. I'm like, I know her. Like, I had this vision of her in a diner with a cigarette. And then I realized, that's Universal Soldier, because Van Damme's more food. You know? Yeah. She's a voice on the answering machine for most of this. It doesn't show up till it's time for the third act, and things to get a little weird. Really weird. And throughout the movie, we see that through Jack trying to figure out what's actually going on, they sort of fall in love with each other. He's asking questions and everything. They go to Peter's apartment. They go to her place. There's a side character named Joe Jr. who is one of those characters that has a thing for the main character, but is not reciprocated, and they end up just being really good friends, kind of thing. He starts out like a sleazebag, but turns out to be he's not that bad of a guy, you know. I love his speech at the end. Hey, I heard about what happened. You know, don't be one of those ladies that drowns in ice cream and cookies and ruin your figure. Look like my Aunt Pauline or whatever the name was. And then she's like, just you know, don't worry about it. How'd it go with the third floor woman? He's like, and she's like, oh, it's okay. Come here. He's like, you got any cookies? She's like, no, I don't. It's like he was about to drown his in cookies and ice cream and stuff. That's kind of fun. I do like his presence. There's a gag that normally could get old, but I kind of, it worked. Where Joe Jr. is there talking to her, and then Saul shows up. So he puts, Jack shows up first, I think. One of them shows up first. Throws, it was Saul is first. So Saul comes in, they start talking. Saul admits that he knows she's not Peter's fiance because he overheard her in the hospital when she thought she was by herself, talking to him in a coma. And so he admits that. He says he won't say anything, but he doesn't know what they're going to do, you know, about it. And he understands you need to be a part of a family. He seems to be a very alone person himself and lashes onto this family. As you can, you know, I pay attention to that. He doesn't talk about, you know, he doesn't have a wife or anything. You know, he lost his wife. She passed away. They have a conversation, and he's pretty much alone. So he understands. He's in that same boat. He has no one but the Callahans. So you know. And so then Saul leaves. He gets her out of the closet. She gets him out of the closet. Joe Jr. He's wearing her shoes. And then Jack shows up. And she just leaves him there. She just leaves him there. But yeah, they kind of fall for each other. Both talk. She confides in her boss. I thought it was just this guy that she knows. But it's her boss, revealed later. I can't... Because there's the scene where she shows up in his office, and she's like, she gives him a wedding invitation. So what, you get married to the guy that was in a coma? You know, he's the whole thing, yeah. So I said this movie gets to the logical conclusion point, but then keeps going. So the logical conclusion point, Peter wakes up from his coma and doesn't recognize Lucy. So this should be the moment that everything comes out and she admits. But they worked in this subplot where the little sister, played by Monica Keena, by the way, shows up at the toll booth thing, and she's talking to her friend, and her friend makes a passing comment where she says, what, you're engaged to this guy? What, are you pregnant? And she sarcastically replies, yeah, I'm pregnant. The little sister's friend hears this, and that spreads around to the whole family that now thinks she's pregnant. So when she tries to confess that she's not really the fiance, she already told Jack that she's not actually pregnant. It was a misunderstanding. They think that's what she's talking about. So they're like, oh yeah, you know you're not really pregnant. Jack told us the whole thing. But the thing is, they play this off. They're like, when he wakes up, looks at her and goes, who is she? Or who the hell is that? They're like, oh, he must have amnesia. I went, what? What did because when he's about to wake up, I'm like, well, here we go. This is the end of the movie, right? They're going to realize that she's a liar and she's going to run off, be all sad. Then Jack's going to come up and have this big speech. They'll fall in love and this will be everlasting love, right? Because that's the song that starts. It starts the movie. Usually that's the end of the movie. That plays at the end of the Parent Trap remake. And that starts the movie. I'm like, okay. No. They keep going. He wakes up. He has no idea who she is, and they said, "Oh, he must have selective amnesia." There's even a point where he's going through things. My grade point average, my locker in high school, blah 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 blah. But he doesn't remember her, and not one person outright states, "Well, he remembers everything else, but not her." Something is not right. Nope, nothing. To complicate things, the other girlfriend, his girlfriend's actual girlfriend, Ashley, has made it back to town. So I'm very confused on this, on why they chose which person to do what. So they're moving Peter up a floor, I think. Up a floor, down. They're moving him to another floor. So both of the women walk in at the same time, and they pick different floors because Ashley has spoken to the doorman, and the doorman knows where. By the way, Lucy has to be one of the luckiest women on earth because this doorman could have ruined everything, but he's new, so just because he doesn't recognize her, doesn't mean anything because he's new, you know. So they go to different floors. And they chose that Ashley is the one that finds him. Wouldn't it make more sense? Like, how did the doorman know that he was transferring to a different floor and Lucy didn't? It should be the other way around. But they gotta have her confrontation with him. And then now he spent enough time with Lucy that now he said, "No, you told me no. You're not gonna. When I proposed to you, we woke up." She goes, "No, basically, I needed a break." Basically, it's like Friends, but way more complicated than that. He's like, "No, I'm marrying Lucy. We're gonna get married, and yeah, I'm in love with Lucy. I got a new fiance now." And he ends up proposing to Lucy. For some reason, she says yes, and they're gonna go ahead with the wedding until they get to the wedding. And she's like, "I object." Before anything happens, he's like, "Well, I haven't got that part yet." And then Jack goes, "I object too." And then she confesses everything. Like, the big reason why she doesn't say anything is because Glynis John's character has a heart condition. And Jack Warden says, "Well, you say anything, she might go, you don't want to do that." So that's one of the main reasons why she doesn't say anything. Even when she starts to talk about it, she's like, "How you doing? Is your heart okay?" But, yeah. She explains everything. She's not Peter's fiance. And she's not going to marry Peter. It was never that way. She explains what actually happened. And she apologizes to the whole family. And then Ashley walks in and objects. And I like how the priest is like, "Take a number. Or get in line," is what he says. Then a man walks by Ashley and goes, "I object." We're like, "Who's that?" "That's Ashley's husband." She has a husband? Like I said, this is never explained. It's just like, she has a husband, whatever. And then there's a big old argument, and Lucy leaves. So then we cut to she's back at work. Apparently she's going to leave. I don't know when that was established. Apparently she's leaving her job. And we keep getting this close-up of coins going down the slot. I'm like, okay, something's going to go through there, like, it's going to be a ticket to Italy or something. That would have made more sense than what does happen, because in comes an engagement ring, and I went, do not tell me that Peter is actually... No, it's Jack. Which makes more sense than Peter, I guess. I don't know why I thought. But the funny thing is, I'm thinking, okay, it's not Peter. No, it's got to be Jack. Jack. And when they pan up, the entire family is there except for Peter. Probably got to clear things up with Ashley. But like, and they're like, well, get down on one knee. Come on. He's trying to propose here. Whole thing. And he's like, well, let me into the thing. And she's like, I can't. Unless she put a token in. And they end up getting together. And she narrates, because she narrated at the beginning of this about how her family and everything. And here she narrates that they got married, they went on a honeymoon to Florence, she got to stamp her passport. That's all she wanted to do was stamp her passport. She wanted to leave and go somewhere. And, I'm one of those, I'm not going to go out of the country. I'm not that assured. I'm not that brave. But I like to go to another state. Like, out of the Midwest. Like Florida, Chicago, it's Illinois, but, Florida, Chicago, California, New York. Something out of the Midwest. I've only been to Minnesota, Iowa, and Missouri. Missouri is the furthest I've ever been into the United States. That's it. My nose is itchy. Hell, I know I said I didn't want to leave the country, but I'll go to Canada. Sure. Have some poutine. It sounds delicious, actually. Like fries with gravy, basically what it is. Isn't it right? Gravy fries. Basically what it is. But I want the actual cuisine. I want to go to Philadelphia and have an actual Philadelphia cheesecake. As Will Smith explained on The Fresh Prince, it's not a real Philadelphia cheesesteak if the bottom of the bag isn't covered in grease. Right? A real one. I want to go to New York and have a slice of New York pizza. Right? I want to have an actual Chicago deep dish style pizza. It's food wise, but yeah. You know what I mean? I want to go to Coney Island and have an actual Coney dog. But being who I am, how I am, I don't try. I won't ever get in a goddamn plane. Hell no. If I wasn't already afraid to fly 9/11, stop that real quick. I remember that happened, and I'm just like, well, that's just it. I'm never getting on a plane. Ever. At one point, my mom and stepdad were going to go to Vegas to get married. And they said we have to get on a plane. And I'm like, no. It's like, no, it'll be okay. I'm like, if you want to get me on a plane, you have to do like they did with Mr. T in the 18. You have to drug my milk or something. Knock me the fuck out to get on a plane. Otherwise, no. No. So anyway, the movie ends with them getting together. Right. They go to Florence, all that stuff, and then Peter even asked, well, when did you fall in love? Or I think it's Jack that. No, Peter asked, when did you fall in love with Jack? To which she replies, while you were sleeping. Which is the only mention of the name in the entire movie. And I know the title is a bit confusing for myself because while you were sleeping indicates that she fell in love with him, the guy who was sleeping, while he was sleeping. So maybe it's a little misdirection. You think that that's going to be the guy that she was in love with, but actually it's not. It's fine. I'll give it a very high, middle of the road. I think it works for what I was trying to do, but it just gets so ridiculous in the end. Like, the logical conclusion point, like I said, is he wakes up, points out, I don't know her, it's not my fiance, and the family's like, oh, she lied to us, kicks her out. But then Jack shows up and proposes to her anyway. Or they sweeps her off her feet, Hey, I'm not mad you're not his fiance. I'm glad, because I'm in love with you. That's my Bill Pullman impression. I'm an honest-to-God prince. Yeah. Also, I look for ghosts in the meantime with my daughter, who's not here. Yeah. I enjoyed it. It's a fun little rom-com to put on. Grease is another rom-com, by the way. It's a musical rom-com, but nonetheless. We got one left. Tomorrow. Christmas Day, you will get that one. But till then, what are your thoughts on While You Were Sleeping? Leave a comment, so make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'm Sky, and I'll see you in the next one.